present, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to the Wednesday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Wednesday, the 6th day of March 2024. Welcome, one and all. It's midweek. The Wednesday episode, I know normally it's well attended, but let me say this, both sessions now Mondays and on Wednesdays, are equally attended. So congrats to you students who are here very, very early. As soon as the program is scheduled, you come on and you wait in the schoolyard, waiting for the class to come in. So welcome one and all. Hope you had a pleasant night, and hope you're looking forward to lots of information. And we do have lots and lots to tell you. You know, it never ceases to amaze me the amount of things that crop up from day to day. We were here on Monday, and we weren't able to complete all the things that we wanted to talk about. And we said, well, we're going to complete them today, Wednesday. But between Monday and today, so many things have come up that, again, we're going to be challenged with time. We're going to be challenged. And I know people are asking about the third day, and we are still considering it because we have a schedule, we have a life to live. And therefore, it is not easy sometimes to stick in that third day. It is not easy, but we're going to try because we have so much to tell you, and we don't want things to be falling behind. And again, we don't want to go too long on the program, but we are going to do whatever we have to do. So from the time we were scheduled this morning, all these students, we scheduled a little later this morning, so much so that some of the students messaged me to find out if we had a program on today. I had to assure them that yes, we are going to be on today. Again, I say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's celebrate being in the land of the living. It is good to be in the land of the living. Many persons have not been this fortunate. So we must celebrate. We must celebrate and give thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to see this new day. And to start, let me say, before I go into the roll call and the announcements, I wonder how many of you were affected yesterday by the total shutdown or blackout of Facebook. I was just going to check some news on Facebook. Then I realized I was logged out of my account. Very strangely, I was logged out. And then I said, all right, let me log back in. But in trying to log back in, I got difficulties, and I was wondering, as a matter of fact, I thought maybe the miscreants had hacked my account as they did to Kanaki's account a few weeks ago. Having said that, we still are unable to cross-stream on Kanaki's page because he still does not have access to that page. So I thought I had suffered the same fate. But then a friend of mine who is into technology called me to find out if I had a problem in logging in. So I told him yes. He said, well, not to worry, because he learned that it's a worldwide problem, which lasted, I understand, for about 90 minutes. And thereafter, I was able to log back in and get the news and all of that. But a lot of people, Facebook and Facebook Messenger, those who are in Instagram, you understand, we all suffered. And people were panicking as to what actually transpired. So Mark Zuckerberg is the man, Facebook man. And some persons have said, guys, you can't stop guys. They said, GPL should take a note from Mark Zuckerberg. Worldwide blackout, resolved in 90 minutes. GPL get blackout for decades and decades now and can't resolve it. So maybe they can ask Mark, what is the recipe? What is the solution? 90 minutes blackout, worldwide blackout, worldwide, all over the world, resolved in 90 minutes. And they can resolve this blackout for 83,000 square miles or for 83 square miles after all of these years and so on. Well, now they're in more trouble now because they say the oil or the oil for the turbines are it's delayed. Remember, the oil that was bringing the boat or the oil, the tug or the vessel that ran aground and spilled oil off Tobago wasn't consigned to them, right? Up to now, they said consigned to them, but they are experiencing a delay in shipment. What if it was the same shipment? I just wonder. So yes, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's celebrate and rejoice. I'm going to run to the roll call now. And my colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio waiting for us. But before I do the roll call, all of you who are here, the hundreds of you are here, like this page, hit the thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, man. Show some appreciation. Show some appreciation. I'm bigging you up all the time, man. I'm praising you for being in the schoolyard, for coming to the school. Endure all the mosquitoes and the inclement weather to be in the schoolyard. Give me a thumbs up. That's the least you can do at this stage. Give me a thumbs up right on the page. Go to the Facebook page and like the page. Go to YouTube and subscribe. That's all I'm asking to do. All I'm asking. And once you do that, I am going to find the time to come here and to bring credible, valuable information to you. So thank you. What I say, please and thank you. Thumbs up, please. I can see, I'm seeing when you thumbs up. Yes, I see people are showing their appreciation. Let me do the roll call quickly. And we the first three that came on this morning, somehow they are not reflected now, but I made a note. And the first one in this morning was Ian Lucius. Ian came in at 9:27. Congratulations. You're number one student today. He was followed by Evelyn, and then after Evelyn was Lyndon, and then Barlett. After that, then those were the first four. Then we have out of the UK, we had Winston, then Derek, Debbie, who else? Kurt, Raul, Colin. I know one of the reasons why I do this. I want you to see that when I tell you of the number of students waiting in the schoolyard, you won't disbelieve. And I will tell you the time. For example, Colin came in at 9:32. Then we had Sean from New York, ex-sergeant. Joan was so concerned that she messaged me to find out if the program was on today. I had to reassure her, yes. Courtney is here. He came in at 9:33. Princess from Lamar Springs is here. Earl, this is Earl Abrams. Seth Red, he coming in. Watch it, Seth, with them. You're waiting with the small girls. Watch it with the small girls, my brother. You ain't get luck like you might not get luck like Darmlal. Pauline is here. Then Queenie from New York, originally from West Coast Barbies. Patricia from New Jersey. Wayne from the UK is very much in the house. Vibart. Lawson, that is, because I see another Vibart someplace. Ulrich from Crane. Ulrich from Crane is here. Carlton, my squad mate, 9430. He is watching us from New York. Then we have Clarence. Then we have Winston. Winston is all the way from California. Then we have Eric. Eric, you can find by. That is not your regulation number. Eric, your regulation number is not 8228. It is 8218. I know it's a typographical. And I know you would say that, oh, it's a mistake. And I'm going to take you a little beer or something at some stage. Kenneth is in the house. Then we had Anthony coming in. John is here. Welcome. Keith, Francis Keith, the man from Melanie Namashana, proud man from Melanie, East Coast, Demerara. Then we have Monica is in the house. She says she's waiting. Sandra came in, and Sandra came in at 9:49. Nigel, I can't recall seeing Nigel before. If you are a virgin viewer, or perhaps you have been viewing before, but you never commented. Welcome, my brother. Welcome. You're in the schoolyard. George from BV is here. Vivian is here. Tessa I from Orlando. Then we have Patricia. Actually, she's inside. Faithful student. Malcolm. This is a Malcolm Robinson. Because we have other Malcolms too. Pito is in the house. The other Malcolm is here. Malcolm Ned. He came in at 9:53. Ulrich. And Ulrich is asking about Friday. We'll inform you when we get to that stage, Ulrich. Then Denise. Terry. Welcome, Terry. Terry, I remember you, 1933, I think it was. If around, let me know. I think 1933 do be safe. I have a thing with numbers. Then we have Tilula came in, and he's waiting. Fergus. And Fergus asking a question here. Let me answer it now. He wants to know who can give on-the-spot promotion. And on-the-spot promotion from the rank of promotion to the rank of Lance Corporal to Sergeant can be done by the commissioner, but it's always controversial, always, because there's a promotion board that should sit and consider people for promotion. So when the commissioner decides that he's going to make an on-the-spot promotion. He's really going against the standing order, which says that the promotion board should meet. And for outstanding performances, no problem. You know, a man has performed outstandingly and he's recognized on the spot. But then in the past couple of years, the thing I believe, in my view, it was abused. Every time there's a visit, every time there's a function, on the spot promotion. I remember when I was commanding Barbies and they opened the Rosal outpost. I see a man asking question this morning on social media about the function of that outpost. I remember I was a commander. There was a old train carriage at the side of the road, and I refused to allow the ranks to go into occupy it. And I told Mr. McDonald, who was commissioned then, that I am not putting ranks in that thing. That thing was dangerous. A train carriage, they convert into an outpost right at the side of the road, and the steps, you have to be very acrobatic to go up those steps. And they agreed, and they built the other outpost. And when Minister Gadraj came to declare that outpost open, without any question, he decided he's going to promote a certain corporal on the spot to sergeant. And the man had a colorful pass. The matter of fact, the man was interdicted. I was just reinstated. So I say that to say that it is not the best thing. You should really go through a process to make sure that the person who is to be promoted qualifies for the promotion. Let me move on. Brian came in next. Gavin, Jakey, don't miss out. Ether, welcome, welcome. Gaston, my squad mate, is in the house. 9556 Taylor. Then we have Brad Shaw from Peters Hall. Barbara came in. Emerson is very much here. Cecile came in as well. Who else? Then we have Desiree. Then Peter came back to make comments. Then we had Karen is in the class. Easy or Ezzy, however you want to call it. Jean is here. Vernon, the original black man, is in the house. K. Bonita from West Coast Barbies, proud West Coast Barbies girl. Carville is in the house. Then we have David is here. Jaco from Georgia. Then we have Henrik is in there. Everett from Texas. Big up Everett. Welcome, welcome. Then we have Carlisle. After Carlisle, Pamela. West Coast them. East side, West side girl, sorry. West side. Lynette from the UK is in the house. Magnell. Then we have Colin. Colin is from Queens, New York. Then we have Colin. Next Colin. He is from where? He said he was on vacation. He's back. His vacation is over. Hope you enjoyed it, my brother. Carl, my squad mate, says that he is now in Mexico vacationing. Carl, watch it with that vacation in Mexico. Carl, Frankie said, after you posted that last picture with the bakery, Frankie is saying, I know Frankie can be malicious, but he's saying that maybe you're hustling with little baker shop work in Mexico. So watch it, Squaddy. Isabella is in the house. The one and only Michael B. Michael Brower, British Virgin Islands, 14126. The extended squatter, squaddy. Melissa is in the house. Marvin, Doreen, my squad mate, is here. Rohan, don't miss it. Glendis, Wayne, Sheena, the one and only Chipper 68 is in the house. Then we have Rhonda Chance. This is Rhonda Chance. We have other Rhondas who come. Then we have Brennan. We have Maureen is here. John Rogers is in the house. Johnny, Grace, welcome to Grace. Gail is here. Vibort. These are all people before we started, Clifton from Paris. El Ben is here. Melville is in the house. Uvorni is in the house. Then we have Philip. Orin, I know Orin is from the UK. Then we have Terence. Then Diane. Diane would have been the last person. No, Gloria. After Diane, it was Gloria. And then when we went live, the first person in was Lynette from Barbados. Then we had others coming in on social media, on Facebook. We also had TK from California. Samuel is in the, all right, Samuel is here as well. And Carol And then we have so many other persons. But let's go. Let's make a start. Let me bring in my colleague, my former co-accused, former co-defendant, current co-host, current friend, and all of that. Let me bring him to say something. CC, welcome.
Good morning. I like the last descriptions, and I'm happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. So let's get on with it, Paul.
Let's get it on. Is who is the Michael
Buffer.
the Michael Buffer. Huh? Let's get it on. Now for some announcements. Let me start off by giving you the first of all, before I go on, let me remind all those in North America in particular, New York in particular, that the daylight saving time ends on Sunday. So remember, from Sunday, New York, Eastern Standard Time and Guyana time will be the same. It will be the same. And let me remind you early so that you can arrange. So next week when we start at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, it's going to be the same time for Guyana. So we're going to be at the same timeline. No mistakes will be made. Then the next announcement I want to make, I did announce some time ago about the death of retired Sergeant Oswald Innes. Well, the information on his funeral came to hand, and to say that he will be buried on Saturday, the 16th of March, viewing from 10 to 11, service from 11 to 12 noon at J. Foster Phillips Funeral Home. That's 17924 Linden Boulevard, Jamaica, Queens, Jamaica, New York. So that is next Sunday. Our brother, our late brother Oswald Innes will be laid to rest. And today too, the March the 6th is the death anniversary of former President Cherry Jagan. The president died on the 6th of March, 1997. I remember he took ill in February, I think around February the 14th or 15th. I remember that very well. I think it was a Friday night. The Saturday morning, we had a meeting at the officers' mess, an I-powered meeting. And a colleague sat next to me, a senior officer colleague, and Dr. Luncheon was making a presentation. And Dr. Luncheon announced that the president had a cardiac episode during the night. So my colleague turned to me and asked, where's the cardiac episode? I said, buddy, Luncheon then they asked, you know, you're asking me, I don't know. Luncheon is here and Luncheon telling us that the president had a cardiac episode. You're asking me what's a cardiac episode. I asked Luncheon. And later on we understood that is had to do something with a heart problem. And the same day, the same Saturday, I remember being part of that. He was taken to Camp Payangana, the helicopter pad there just in front on Thomas Road. And he was flown to Timeri, and then he was flown to the US for medical treatment, and he came back in a casket. I always remember that. I remember his funeral too at Babu Jan, where, at that time I had been, where I was, I was in A Division, second in command, I think in A Division. And at the funeral time, I was sent back. I was taken back to traffic to plan the traffic arrangement for the state funeral for Dr. Jagan. Mr. Lewis was the commissioner. He said he want me to do the arrangement for the state funeral from all the routes and all of that. I had to plan all the way to Albion, where there was the body was in viewing there. And I remember too, big problem the night because it should have stopped that night, the viewing, but the crowd was so massive that they had to make a decision to continue the next day. I think the funeral was postponed by a day because of that. I was there very much a part of all of that. So it's the anniversary now. So I guess very soon you're going to hear about some function at Babu Jan to commemorate the death anniversary of Dr. Jagan. But I could say, he's not buried. He was cremated. When you're buried, they say you're turning your grave. So I don't know when you're cremated what happens. But given what has happened or what has become of the party he formed, whatever one does when you are cremated, Dr. Jagan must be a very uncomfortable man because the party now is a lot of corruption, a lot of dishonesty, a lot of all the bad words that you can describe. So he must be whatever, blowing in the wind or whatever it is, that is it. So today is his death anniversary, and I think I have more than anything about the about any plan to commemorate that, but I suspect maybe at this weekend or sometime we're gonna have some function at Babu Jan, which is a traditional thing. Well, what else? Let me bring in Mr. Conway. I don't have any board days to announce today. Let me bring in CC for CC to obvious for the say at this time. CC, welcome again.
Yeah, thank. And I remember uh, President Jagan. What no matter when the casket came in from Timeri, I was in the lead police vehicle that escorted it to State House. And I recall also that when he commissioned the commission, I was in charge of the college and I had to send some recruits to the funeral. And at Ariel, my county, there was an accident. And Commander B will remember that he suffered a medical episode that he later was flown to Trinidad, where they discovered that he had a blood clot in his brains. So I remember Babu John well and I remember Jagan well.
Yeah, but you know, there's a I love my students. Look what one is advising us here, Fidela, on Facebook. Sunday Babu Jan. Jagdio and Ali speaking. Sunday, that is what he's saying. Babu Jan, Jagdio, that is what one of the students is saying. I did not see that, but I know it's traditional. They're going to hold something. And I remember on one occasion, that same Babu Jan thing, Jagdio went there and said us other thing. I think this prompted Christopher Ram to file certain charges against him. So that is what will take place on Sunday. Now, moving on. Now, again, sadly, we have to announce this murder of these two persons, the Poknaka. Well, that's still Poknaka, the minor, Zahir Mohammed Sharif, and his porter, Donovan Washington, 26. Sharif is 50, Washington is 26. The information is, let me read quickly what it says. According to police press release, the suspects were two masked men on a red ATV who allegedly carted off 102 ounces of raw gold valued at 37 million and two licensed firearms, a .32 pistol and 12 gauge shotgun property of Sharif. And then they go on to say the police said that investigations so far revealed that Sharif was the owner of a 6-inch land dredge operation at Arimu Bagdam. And at about 10 hours yesterday, I think that was Sunday, he left his camp in Washington on an ATV en route to Bartica. He had 102 ounces of raw gold. The general manager of Sheriff Operation told the police that about 5 minutes after his boss left camp, he heard several loud explosions, which he suspected to be gunshots. Stevens told the police he went to make checks in the area about 500 meters away from the camp, found both men lying on the trail with gunshot injuries about their bodies. He also observed that both of Sheriff's firearms and gold were missing. He later made a report to the Bartica police station. That is what the police is reporting. But you know, when you look at this report again, they name the general manager unnecessarily. Unnecessarily. They like to name people in these releases and expose people to all type of danger. They also said that the man had 102 ounces of raw gold. Why is that necessary? Why not just a quantity? Now, when you are going to make that statement about 102, people like the bandits, the eyes are going to be open now. So what is all the type of gold in the area? People now become perhaps even more vulnerable. But so I don't know. Again, these releases, I keep saying the police corporate propaganda unit got to be reined in. They're giving out information, calling it release, and they're putting people at risk and exposing people necessarily. In my view, based on my training and experience, it was never necessary. It would not have been necessary to tell the people how much gold they is suspected to have been stolen. A quantity of gold would have been sufficient. You don't have to even put a monetary value to it at this early stage. And then hear what they say. They say they call the general manager name, which I don't think should have been done. They say he told them that the man left, and then shortly after he heard his gunshots and he went there, saw the sheriff lying with his porter dead. But then somehow they didn't say, but somehow these two masked men on a red ATV ATV came into being. So I want to know where they got that information from. Because at least in the release, they did not say that the man went there, he saw anyone leaving this murder scene. They did not say. But again, the corporate communication unit, the corporate propaganda unit headed by Mark Ramatar, they are giving out, or they're attempting, well, not attempting, they're giving information unnecessarily, which is going to put people's life in danger. One, as I've said, there was absolutely no need for the amount of gold to be mentioned. Two, there was no need for them to mention who is the GM name. Because if it is that the GM, either we tell that information from us and the GM was a witness to what's going on, he is in danger, unnecessary danger. And that is what they continue to do, and people are not reining them in. Apparently, Mark Ramatar has full carte blanche to write all the crap that he writes in and put in people's in danger. I have noted, based on comments we made, well, I shouldn't say based on that, but I just noted that a few releases, they did not put the name of the police officer or the police ranks who were involved in the operation, which is a good thing. You can't put people's name out there like that. You're going to expose people to unnecessarily danger. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to say something on this. I know you're familiar with that area, being the commander there for some time. Go ahead.
Yeah, very, very, very familiar. And I don't know, as you mentioned, where they got to red ATV and two masked men. Is only men really committing robbery? Huh? It couldn't be a woman or something. Why couldn't two masked men, and then person get shoot up, all of that shot up on the fire? Did they canvass the area? Did they find spent shells? Are they looking for ballistics? Are they looking for forensic in terms of doing proper investigation? And 100 and something ounces of gold. Why it couldn't be a quantity of gold? And the other day I was reading to it, they talk about a quantity of cash. I know they mentioned the amount of gold. They all think, and then this thing calls for proper investigation. And apparently, like, they're not doing forensic investigation, like they're not checking ballistics. And I'm going to harp on them all the time. A female superintendent came back from Russia, a Russian trained 5 years for forensic science, and here she is locked up in a room as the force training officer, looking at recruit training and other training, when she should be perhaps in the forensic science unit or being on the ground. Perhaps she should have been to Bartico there and see if they could pick up anything, any fiber, any hair, any fingerprint, some kind of thing would be left there. Lockout theory exchange are happening all the time, that they need to do proper forensic investigation, but they're looking at confession statement, and then the confession statement goes through the window and out goes the case.
Yeah, well, They did say, CC, that the release said that the scene was processed on 1.32 magazine with 8 live matching rounds, 9 mm shells, spent shells, and 3.32 spent shells were found. Now again, they say, I don't know, they have .32 magazine. I don't know. The correct thing is a magazine containing .32 rounds. You can't say .32 magazine, right? Can't say you're giving a release to the world. They should really have said that the magazine that they recovered contained .32 rounds. Because I know that you can have other 22 rounds can go into other magazines as well. So I type of unprofessional thing that they say. This is the type of unprofessional thing. And let me say this, based on what the police have said, I'm not privy to all the information they have, but they did not say in this release that there was any eyewitness, even though they're telling you about a red ATV and 2 masked men. If they're masked, I don't know how they know that they are men. I don't know. But given what they have said so far, in the absence of eyewitness, in the absence of scientific forensic evidence, it's going to be difficult for them to deal with this matter. 2 men, I understand, 2 suspects were arrested. And again, let me hope that they don't get confession and rely only and solely on the confession statement, because the families of these people deserve a proper investigation. They deserve justice. The small miners in particular in the area deserve to know that a proper and thorough investigation is done so the perpetrators can be arrested, and that is likely to then deter others. And the police at this stage, they got to come up. I was on a program last night where I made some comments. They got to come up and make sure they have systems in place to properly police those mining areas. And as people were suggesting outposts, I said, no, outposts are not going to solve it. You put up an outpost and you have what, 5, 6, 7 ranks at an outpost to work 24 hours. That is not going to cut it. And I recommended that you have to have proper mobile patrols to patrol those mining areas, proper mobile patrols. I recall some time ago, they used to have those patrols where they would camp maybe a day or two in a particular area, and then they move on, proper roving patrols to pick up intelligence to see people who are undesirable. Because I know in some of those areas, I don't know if people know, but in some of those areas, for you to access those areas, you have to have what they call a privilege. I'm sure CC can remember that. You can't walk into some of these mining areas and some of these indigenous areas just like that. They have checkpoints and all of that. You're supposed to have monitoring, and you're supposed to have to go into a mining area. You're supposed to produce your privilege from the Guyana Gold and can't remember the place there in Big Dam. But CC, help me out here. Is privilege still in place, or are privileges still in place?
I don't know. It was a matter of law, but I don't know if it's still in place. I remember when I was at the office, the sergeant in charge of Ikeriko police station, and at some other stations too, that when you go in there, you have to get a privilege. And the police used to sell the privilege too on behalf of the Geology and Mines Commission. And only that, the owner of the claim had to endorse your privilege to give you permission to work on his claim. So I don't know if that you had to get a mining privilege and you had to report to the police station with your mining privilege and show them, and it had to be endorsed by the claim holder. And getting back to the things that they found there, one, if they check for fingerprint, if they find a magazine, they hand it properly, fingerprints are critical, and everything. The forensic kind of investigation is not being done.
Yeah, which is sad. Those things are, in this case in particular, most cases, but this case, given what they have reported, the scientific evidence will be vital if you are going to secure a conviction. But move on. Let me move on. And I move on to this other issue now dealing with the Guyana Public Servants Co-op Credit Union Limited. I said, I know Obia man. I am not a Obia man. I'm not a CFAR man. I'm not clairvoyant. But I said on Saturday, when they had that special general election, I told some of the principals, watch out for the shenanigans. Watch out. And so said, so done. Monday, the people went there. Those persons who were voted out or prevented from holding office, and they behaved in an atrocious manner. And I made a post on social media. I said that they behave. I didn't identify that particular event, but that is what I'm referring to, because I made the point to say that I used some words to describe them. I used some words to describe the behavior that I saw there. Atrocious behavior by women in particular. I'm not saying men should appear that. Seeing a female sitting on a table, they're banging on the desk. And as I said, the imbroglio continues. It continues. And my position is this. I might be wrong, but this is my position. The special general meeting came about as a result of an order from the High Court. Justice Navendra Singh ordered that this special general meeting be held by the 10th of March. The party tried to prevent the meeting from being held. That's always been reported. They went there to disrupt the meeting, and they weren't successful in disrupting the meeting. They claimed that a quorum wasn't met by a particular time, all of that. Perhaps they're all valid claims. I'm not going to deny that. Perhaps they're all valid claims. Anyhow, the returning officer ruled that they had a quorum and they will move ahead with the meeting, which they did. And the persons were elected by large numbers, overwhelming numbers elected. and according to Mr. Ben making a statement, is the highest number of persons virtually and in person to have turned out at any one of the meetings in the history of the credit union. So they had that. So Monday now, they had this first meeting. And the people turned up there and disrupted the meeting, banging bottles on the desk. And I am saying that if the meeting was held and you felt that it was in violation of the order, it was in violation of whatever law there is, the fact that the court ordered this meeting, you should have gone back to the court to seek to get an injunction to prevent this person from operating. But they know they did not do that. They went there and they disrupted the meeting. And having disrupted the meeting, it would appear as though they then wrote to the the designation is the Chief Cooperative Development Officer, Ministry of Labor, Jankanath Panchu. They wrote to him and they make some complaint because Panchu then wrote to Mr. Patrick Mentor to say that the following has been alleged. He's saying, let me read the whole thing. It has been brought to my attention that a special general meeting held on March 1, 2024, in keeping with the orders of the court made by Justice Navendra Singh, may not have been properly constituted. He goes on to say the following has been alleged. One, at 10:50 a.m., you announced to the gathering that a quorum had been established without stating the number of persons in the meeting, both online and in person. Two, at 11 a.m., public service provider rose. Two, I think that the service provider representative Samuel told persons who inquired that there were 513 online attendants. Then three, that both online and physical attendance was 1,907. Then you go on to say that approximately 1,900 members voted. Then he says, in view of the aforementioned, I am hereby requesting that you provide me with the following. One, list of persons who attended the special general meeting, both virtually and physically. Two, list of persons who voted at the election. Three, says I was informed that the credit union has 25,008. Let me read that back. I was informed that the credit union has 25,385 members. Please confirm this number is correct. And then it goes on to say, unless the above is provided, you and other members must refrain from assuming the duties of the committee of management or transact any business whatsoever on behalf of the credit union. That to me is contemptuous of the court. He is directing the people who are duly elected. And I say, if you have a problem with the manner in which the election was conducted, the fact that this election was conducted pursuant to an order of the court, you should go to the court and seek redress. But for you, the Chief Cooperative Development Officer will now order, and hear the nonsense. I hope Patrick Mentor, our old police, and a colleague of mine will answer, especially this third question, Patrick. Patrick, the man is asking, he said, I was informed that the credit union has 25,385 members. Please confirm that this number is correct. Confirm the number is correct. Patrick, you should not just reply to that and say, NO, one word. No, it is not all. Go on. No, it is not correct. Done with that. No, it is not correct, because that would have satisfied this tree. And then before I bring in Mr. Conway, I want to ask this. This imbroglio has been going on for a long time. Long. And even before they got to court, it has been going on for a long time. Where was this man all this time? This Chief Cooperative Development Officer, Jankanath Panchu, where was he during all of these years of this thing going on? Where was he? And I've seen that he now come out from some crack or under some rock and he asking these questions. I want to know when he's going to look into the police credit union, where it is alleged that a senior police officer attempted to launder $16.5 million. Mr. Panchu, see that you now suddenly discover you're at work, you now come out from your slumber, you're going to do some work, you're asking these questions. I am telling you that there is an allegation that a senior police officer attempted to launder $16.5 million through the police credit union. I suspect, therefore, that all of these credit unions you will have some jurisdiction over, given your portfolio. So why are you not investigating that? Why have you not asked this senior police officer to say why he attempted to launder this money through the police credit union? And the words that I used to describe them on the social media page, I said they were classless, they were boorish, uncouth, vulgar, and lotish. Those were the words. And other people, if you check the post, other people came on and they added their own words to describe the behavior. And I told someone, I said, when you see them banging, 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 when you look at a few of them, and I care if you all vex with me, but I'm going to say it, when you look at some of them, I would think that they needed the exercise. But there's the wrong place for them to have sought to burn some calories. Wrong place, wrong time. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, what are your views on this matter involving the police, the VPSU credit union?
Another similar facts, another Saddam Hussein issue with the teachers. Here it is that the court ordered the special general meeting. And if there were issues, if there were allegations, the common sense thing to do is refer it back to the judge. You feel that things went wrong, things went haywire, go back to the judge. That's where it resides. And any action like that chief co-op development officer did, that is contempt of court proceedings. And I hope that the judge will pull him in. As how Justice Kisuna pull in Saddam Hussein. That is contempt of court. Here it is, the judge had a special general meeting, and he writing people who are duly elected to refrain from performing duties. And if there are issues involved, you have to refer it back to the judge. But then again, common sense isn't common in everybody. It isn't commonplace. And common sense was there before book sense. And when you look at the letter, it is disjointed. Very, very disjointed. For us people, and maybe I would have to. There's a program on YouTube, English with Lucy. I wish to recommend that maybe he looks at English with Lucy. If you look at it, he asking for a whole lot of information, and before he get the information, he passed in judgment. Then they must refrain from performing duties. Quoted regulations 17 and 22 about quorum. And he didn't explain what the regulation said. The whole construction of the thing is horrible and needs much to be desired. So I'm recommending maybe he go to YouTube and check out English with Lucy, and he'll have a better understanding how really to write a report. But the whole thing is full of contempt, and I hope that the honorable judge will call him in and cite him for contempt of court and let him explain why the jaws of the Louisiana prison shouldn't open up and swallow him.
Well, let me say this too. Let me say this. That judge is known for being very firm. So I hope that he's firm on this case. Because according to the reports too, the judge ordered the meeting to be held before the 10th of March. It was held on the 1st of March this year. But there's also a provision for them to return to the court at a particular date and time. So the matter is still in the purview of the judge. So how can this chief cooperative development officer, or whatever his designation is, intervene in such a callous manner to instruct that these people should not perform the functions until he is satisfied? Who is he? Who is he? This matter is before the court, and I say again, if you are dissatisfied, you have a right to say that and maybe I say that you might have a valid claim that the meeting, the special general meeting ordered by the judge, was not conducted in the manner it should have been conducted. You talk about quorum and all of that. Maybe you have a case. But the way to deal with it, in my view, is to go to the court. You could have gone there Monday to seek an urgent injunction to prevent these people, even if they had been sworn in, to prevent them from, the court should intervene to prevent them to carry out the function. Not some chief co-op, the development officer, or whatever his name is. And what's his name in a name? The man Panchu their colleague. So I don't understand. And it is and I'll speak to it a little later. But it tells you of the disregard certain people have for courts, some people have to foreign systems, even the constitution. I will talk about it a little later. It shows a pattern, a consistent behavior where court orders are dismissed and the like. And then they wonder why we are in this quagmire in the country. When they are the ones who are setting these bad examples. And nobody's going to tell him anything. Nobody is pulling him to tell him anything. Right? Well, let me move on. The next issue I have to deal with here, I saw yesterday morning, I think it was, somebody drew my attention yesterday morning to an article in the Kaicho News. And the article says that that Ikin and Brutus have been granted concession to mine sand on the Linden Suzaik Highway. Basically, what it say that Ikin and Brutus, and here I'm referring to the Ikin the talk about, is the man who sits in the chair of the Commissioner of Police, referred to as the extended squatter. The Brutus that they're referring to is the man, the assistant commissioner, who sits in the chair of admin currently. They're saying that they have been granted concession to go into sand mining. According to Kaicho News, they both received 11.7 acres of land on the Yarakabwa Linden Suzdike Highway to go into mining. In other words, they're in business. But then somebody reminded me that in April of 2022, and I did the research. I like research. I tell you all this over and over. When I come on this program to speak, I speak from a background of knowledge. I ain't coming to make any wild statement. On April the 3rd, 2022, is an article which says Home Affairs Ministry keeping close eyes on cops with side hustles. So Home Affairs Ministry keeping close eyes on cops with side hustles. And it goes on to say, the article says, Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben has promised to launch an investigation into police officers who might be abusing their positions of power to operate private businesses or side hustle. Ranks of the Ghana Police Force who have taken on second jobs or have engaged in other businesses while under the employ of the government will now be investigated by the Home Affairs Ministry. This was announced recently by Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben, who noted that a rule prohibits the officers in the force from having second jobs. And then he says the Police Act, the article says the Police Act, Chapter 1601, stipulate that, and I quote, a member of the force may be discharged at any time if without the consent of the commissioner he carries on any business or trade or holds any other office of employment for hire or gain. And many ranks have reached out to me since to say, look, these people telling us that we can get involved in business, but here it is, two senior men. Some people might say perhaps the two most senior, the man who sits in the commissioner's chair and the other person there, the extended squatter. The man got going to mining. And you know, the story is people will say that nothing wrong with police officers doing some other business to supplement the salaries. I don't mind that too. I don't mind it. But you have regulations which governs this thing. And the regulations should not be selectively applied. In other words, you shouldn't apply it against the junior people. And then you have what is perhaps the two most senior men gone into business. And again, over the years, I know police officers who are given land on the highway in particular to do farming, and they have engaged in farming. But it's totally different from two police officers engaging in sand mining. So in other words, now they go into this business to compete with other people in the business. You know, sand mining, and the article tells you yesterday, big thing, you know, with all the constructions and so on going on, big thing. So the commissioner, the man who sits in the commissioner of police chair, the extended hustle, the extended squatter, is going into this hustle. But I don't know if it's a side hustle or can't the minister. I don't know if it's a side hustle. This might be the main thing. Because the way how they are managing the force suggests to me that the force might be the secondary operation, or whatever else they do is the primary thing. But some minister of Mr. Ben having regards to what you said in 2022 April or sometime around then about policemen not being allowed. How are you going to treat with this? I don't expect much because I know you're a toothless poodle. The fact that Skank can come, even though you said that you get a ban on him, he can't come back because of whatever. The fact that this can now happen, I don't anticipate that you will do anything. I don't anticipate that you have the balls. Let me be frank. Let me be brutal. I don't anticipate you have the balls to address this issue in the manner which it should be addressed. Again, let me understand this. You imagine that the most senior man in the police force, getting involved in sand mining. Not now, not after you retire, according to the article. They're getting involved in it now. He and the other man, they Brutus, getting involved in it now. And I remember when I was 2IC to Mr. Green in the division many, many years ago. Mr. Green had just started to do law. Apparently, it was unknown to the commissioner. And when the commissioner Lewis found out, he called him to tell him that as commander A division, he should not be attending UG because either his schoolwork will suffer or the work in the division will suffer. He said you cannot be the commander of police A division and being a student at the university at the same time. Someone or the other will suffer. That is what Lewis told him, and I believe you cannot be sitting in those two senior positions and carrying on some business. Even if you were to employ people to work on your behalf, something wrong. Something wrong. You're competing with other people. It's an unfair advantage. And I hope that the Chamber of Commerce and all of these people will look into it, even though I don't hold out any high expectation that they will do so. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, you get some mining pit too?
Well, I'm entitled, remember, I'm a civilian, I'm a civilian, I'm a geriatric, so I can engage in any kind of business, or any business would be lawful. But this is what Section 31 of the Police Act says, and it's entitled engaging in trade or business. Section 21(1) says a member of the force may be discharged at any time if without the consent of the commissioner, A, he carries out any business or trade or holds any office or employment for hire or gain. B, he resides in any premises where any member of his family keeps a shop or carries out any like business. C, he holds any member of his family living with him holds any license granted in pursuant of the liquor license laws or the laws relating to places of public entertainment, or he has any pecuniary interest in any shop or business carried out by virtue of such license, or D, his wife, not being separated or divorced from him, keeps a shop or carries on any like business in Guyana. 2, for the purpose of this section, the expression member of the family shall include a parent, son or daughter, brother or sister, husband or wife. So the law is very clear and it prohibits member of the force. And more so it's alarming senior member of the force. The number one, the person sitting in the seat there and his admin man engage in some business, and with this big construction boom that's going on in this country, surely they're going to run into competition with other persons, unfair competition. They may gotta get trucks, and we know what them trucks doing on the highway. So policemen say I can't trouble the truck, but there's a commissioner truck, and how can the story will go? It is not fair, and I don't know if Minister Ben going to do something about it, but we need to be alarmed, and we need to concern about the commissioner or the one who's the extended squatter and the admin man having mining concession sandpits.
Yeah, but you said, as we said, Guyana is not a real place. Guyana is not a real place. Let me move on. The next is want to introduce or want to continue with is the teacher strike. We learned over the weekend that the judges ordered arbitration, and the it was announced that they have come to an agreement to have the teachers return to school, this classroom today. Today, Wednesday the 6th, they should return, and the negotiation should start tomorrow. What the negotiation, the teachers were demanding all the time, that government must sit and talk to us. That's what the union was demanding. So the government finally caved in and decided that they were going to sit and talk to the teachers. I get a strong suspicion that the way this matter came about, the way the negotiation came about, the government is not going there with good faith. Let me hope that I'm wrong. They're just trying to get the teachers to go back to school, which they agreed to do today, and they will do that. And let me say this. Let me say this. We come back to the fact that the judge had to call in, Justice Kisun, had to call in the chief education officer, because after the judge issued the conservatory order, the chief education officer had the temerity to write and basically tell the teachers and tell the people them that, look, we ain't got time with the judge. We will deduct salaries. We will continue to we will not continue to deduct the union dues. That is basically said. The judge called him in, and we understand Nandlal went there, the attorney general, and said all kind of thing and so on. And then he said, I saw that, I can repeat it, words to the effect that he knew of the document, this memo, right? But he did not see the final draft, which I say is BS. Which I say is BS, and I don't expect anything better from the Attorney General. But let me say this. Let me say this. Having regards to that action, the action now by this co-op development officer in this GPSU matter, I referenced earlier, I alluded earlier to the fact that this is a pattern of disregard for the code, disregard for the law. And let me give some other examples or other issues, other things that happened over the past question. And I say that the government, the CEO wrote this memo, and I'm saying here that the action of the CEO, and I'm referring to the CEO, and now you might have to join this man from the Ministry of Labor, right? Speaks to a culture of lawlessness. It speaks to a culture of lawlessness. And let me give you some of the other examples of the lawlessness. You are the president, Irfan Ali, president of Guyana. The court ruled that he violated the constitution. That ruling is almost a year. When we are March 24th last year, Justice Gino Prasad ruled that he violated the constitution when he unlawfully suspended the Police Service Commission, of which I was the chairman. Then you have the Prime Minister, Mark Phillips, lying in an affidavit in a matter. I have the evidence. He lied in an affidavit. Lawlessness. Then you're going on, you had the Attorney General, same Muammar Anil Nandalal, SC, MP, being accused by the CCJ of bringing that body into disrepute. And I'm saying this thing because they're there for public record. So, you know, they like to sue. They even sue. So who else they're going to sue? They're suing, and they sue. So if they sue, they could sue anybody else. But I'm making sure that everything that I say are factual, right? So let them go. Then we had a situation where the government of Guyana, the current government, refusing orders of the court, when the court ordered that the police officer, Ramsey, and the people from the, what is it that we got, the Guyana Postal and Telecommunication Workers Union to be paid pension and all that. Up to now, those orders have not been fully satisfied. Up to now. Lawlessness. And then we have here too, you ever go all the way back, this is not something that is new, but it has taken on a more aggressive proportion, I would think. Remember the former president, Janet Jagan, marshal served an order on her in the public, in the presence of the public view. She threw it over her shoulders, and the then Attorney General told her that that was good. That was good. Those things are on record. Lawlessness. Then we have the controversial extending of the same squatter that we're talking about. President just decided arbitrarily that he's extended to an indefinite period. All this lawlessness. I mean, the court ruled on the matter, but I'm saying that the manner in which it was done suggests that these people can get regards for no regulation and rules and all of that. Who can forget? Who can forget Priya Manik Chan, the current Minister of Education in Parliament, calling out rape in Parliament during a raucous they had there some time back. Who can forget that? All is lawlessness. All of that is lawlessness. The rancorous behavior in Parliament, where Nigel Dharamlal, a PPP member of Parliament and minister at the time, telling a female member of Parliament, you want a dildo in Parliament. That type of lawlessness we're talking about. Lawlessness. Let me tell you a couple more. We have a police superintendent, now he was inspector then, Prem Narayan, went to court, the Georgetown Magistrate Court, and was rude to a magistrate to the extent where she had to cite him for contempt and sentence him to 7 days in prison. I know they went the same night they went to the Chief Justice, and the Chief Justice said that the punishment was harsh, but the Chief Justice never reversed the fact that he was guilty of contempt. What she did, she said that he is going to she gave remission on the sentence, so that he will remain there up to 4:30 in the afternoon, and then he was allowed to go. And in my book, based on what I saw, that is a conviction. And I had asked the question before whether it was C6 form, I think it is, whether the conviction report form was submitted. And then let me tell you more of the lawless environment that we live in. Christian Dat Ramana, Superintendent of Police, now in charge of Regional Division 4B, headquartered at Diamond in the East Bank. He's the same man who arrested the now magistrate, Tamika Clark. She was the lawyer then representing her client and advised him not to give a statement to the police. He arrested her. And what happened? The man got promotion. The man is promoted because at the time he was at Soko. The man was then sent, he was traffic chief, he was commander, Regional Division 4C, now he's commander, Regional Division 4B. Lawlessness. What can he tell the junior ranks about adhering to the law? And then our next one here too, the same thing I talk about, alleged money laundering by a senior police officer. $16.5 million. Nothing being done. The same co-op man, they ain't doing anything. So it is when you see Saddam Hussein did what he did, I am saying you got to take it in the wider context of lawlessness that is prevailing in the country. Lawlessness. And I make a statement, I made a note to say somehow the authorities do not see the nexus or the link between the type of behavior I just described and the lawlessness on the road, the killing of the 2 minors, and other lawlessness in the society. They don't see a nexus, but I am telling you, I am no sociologist, but I can tell you that there is a clear nexus between executive lawlessness and the lawlessness down the ground, where people driving on the road as if there are no laws, people killing and people doing all type of things in the country. I made that point, and I made a note to say, old people say, monkey see, monkey do. So people seeing all of this lawlessness in high places, high and low places, and they decide that, look, we got to do we think too. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for this one.
Yeah, then, and there are many other instances, and you didn't mention the one where you were arrested, arrested by Romano and others. And also, I still got to refer, and I must always refer to the installed police service commission, and they're talking about lawlessness, who on the 1st of July, a couple years ago, the chairman, who's supposed to be a man of God, a bishop, saying he's on the force that he's waiting on the list of persons recommended for promotion. And on the second, 250 something other persons were promoted. And let me tell you some promotions. They promoted a man, a civilian. They promoted a woman twice for twice. And they promoted persons who didn't pass the police examination. And they had a whole set of senior persons who had display mother pending. And I could call the name. Karen Bashar and display mother pending, promoted from senior superintendent to assistant commissioner. Brutus had a mother pending, promoted from senior soup to assistant commissioner. Prem Narayan, the triple jumper from inspector to superintendent, and he had disciplinary matter pending. Chevron Jupiter had disciplinary matter pending, and she moved from, I think, from ASP to superintendent. Pazram had matter pending, moved from sergeant to assistant commissioner, and a whole lot of other irregularities. But as you say, they talk about trickle down economics, but they get trickle down lawlessness. And that is happening in this country. It is widespread. And as you mentioned, Paul, monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see, monkey do. Before they sue you, let me correct something you said. You said the man on the East Coast there promoted from sergeant to assistant commissioner. You mean from senior superintendent? So I know it's a slip of the tongue, but you know they're listening and they want to jump on any and everything. And don't forget, when you talk about lawlessness with the police service commission, don't forget the two meetings that were held the same day, and the commissioner acting then or carrying out the function, the man carrying out the function of the commissioner, said that in light of the fact that two meetings were held to select or to elect people to the police association, that both meetings are null and void, and new meetings are to be held. And the next morning, the man wake up and the man say, having had matured consideration or some crap like that, he was recognizing the first meeting, which was held by Brutus, and I'm calling it because the records are there, unlawfully held by Brutus, installed Premnerine as the chairman. Happy said that is a meeting that he is going to recognize. CC, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember very, very clearly. Mature thinking and legal advice. That's when he was called over the coals. They sent him he had to go to an office northwest of Brickdam police station, and another one northwest of police headquarters, where they call him and they roast him. They roasted him, and then he said mature thinking and legal advice. I remember clearly.
Yeah, I know you would. Let me move on. Because there are so many other issues of lawlessness. So many other issues. Remember, it was Api who was carrying out the functions of commissioner. Went abroad for, I think, 2 days or something like that on some official program. And when he come back, Akin, who was there, promoted a whole set of ranks. Promoted ranks, junior ranks, corporal and corporal sergeant. And Api rejected that list because he said it was unlawful, and indeed it was. He rejected the list, and he was instructed. The list went to certain places, or he was called and told that he must reverse his decision. So it's not only a decision with respect to the election for the police credit union, police association that he had to reverse. He also reversed that, and the records are there. Let them come and challenge. Tell you how he's a man with records. Don't test me. Don't test me. I'm moving on. Yesterday morning, very early, I got a call. I was giving me information. And someone told me that this matter involving the policeman who was charged with Saga murder was withdrawn. I said, thank you very much. And the thing broke out later in the day. And I'm referring here to the policeman, Darwin Eastman, I think his name is, Police Corporal Darwin Eastman, charged for the murder of Godfrey Scipio, called Saga. People in Georgetown would know. Once it passed by the East Coast and Bobby's car park, Saga was a popular man there. He had his cart, he sold cool drinks and beers and loud music playing there. He had a whole set of gold around his throat and all this type of thing. Saga was killed in 2017. He was exiting a hotel somewhere in Kitty, and a lone gunman, they say, shot him, took away the gold, and escaped. The investigation led to the arrest of some man named Audrey Bob, an ex-con. Aubrey Bob was arrested, charged with this murder of Saga. It is stated that during the course of that investigation, he implicated Eastman and an ex-policeman named Williams, claiming that Eastman was his mastermind in that, and he implicated him. And then, Rick, I know Saga was an old police too. I remember, thanks for reminding me of that. I told you I have bright students. Saga, the man who was killed, he was also a policeman. And they end up charging Eastman. But let me tell you something who this Eastman that they charge was. They charge him for the murder. Eastman was the best cop for the police in 2015. And then the police are saying, let me read that, Corporal Darwin Eastman joined the force in 2012, was commended for exemplary work in the force. Throughout the year, Eastman was responsible for the arrest of 9 persons who were subsequently charged for murder. 2 persons were charged for attempted murder, 5 for possession of arms and ammunition, 31 persons were arrested for possession of narcotics, 18 of whom were charged. The best cop also arrested 30 persons for robbery under arms, 24 of whom were convicted. He was the rank responsible for solving the case involving the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission engineer, Trevor Abrams, who was executed on February the 27th last at Little Diamond on the east bank of Demerara. 2 persons were charged. They go on to say, the corporal was also responsible for the arrest of Dylan Henry, called Nasty Man. He was charged for the execution-style killing of 36-year-old Dexter Griffith, who was killed in Warlock on September the 29th last. The best cop was promoted on the spot to corporal last year at the Brigham luncheon by Commissioner of Police Silal Prasad. They go on to say that in 2013, he was the best cop, and last year, he was the runner-up best cop for his division. Along with the trophy, now let me read this part. Along with the trophy, Eastman was given a round trip to Aruba, Curacao, a trip for 2 to Ara Point Nature Resort, and dinner for 2 at Duke Lodge. He was also given prize by Cell Point and Gizmos and Gadgets. So I'm saying this to say to you that this Eastman who they charged was a decorated cop. A decorated cop. The man was doing undercover work in Georgetown and very successful undercover work in Georgetown. They charged him. Now, according to the article yesterday, today's paper too, the DPP has withdrawn the murder charge against Police Corporal Darwin Eastman, who was charged with the murder of popular businessman Godfrey Scipio Carl Saga. The question that I have several questions to ask. When did the DPP, and they said the DPP withdrew this charge because there is no evidence. 2017 murder, this is 2024. The DPP now realized that there's no evidence. And let me walk you through the process. Because when the investigation was done, a file would have been sent to the DPP for legal advice as to whether a charge should be brought against Eastman. Obviously, the DPP agreed, having looked at it, and I am assuming that they must have looked, because I cannot imagine that the people in the DPP's chamber, including the DPP, will be so callous as to recommend a murder charge without thoroughly perusing that file. So, all right, the file was perused, he was charged. Remanded because his murder young get bail. So the man lost away in prison. There was a preliminary inquiry held by a magistrate, where all the evidence against Eastman would have been presented. And according to the report, at the end of the prosecution's case, no case submissions were made by Eastman and his co-accused. The magistrate upheld the no case submission in respect of the co-accused, but found that there was sufficient evidence to commit Eastman to stand trial before the High Court. Those documents, the file with all the depositions, all the statements, would have then gone back to the DPP. Can remember, the magistrate would have committed him to stand trial, but it goes back to the DPP, and the DPP has to indict. The DPP would have to issue the indictment for murder for it to go to the High Court. All of that was done. All of that. The DPP indicted Eastman for murder. And now, in 2024, the DPP is withdrawing the charge because the DPP is saying, this is according to the report in the media, that there is not enough evidence in the matter. When did the DPP realize this? It destroy a man's career. This man, a decorated policeman, Darwin Eastman, a decorated policeman. I read some of the citations here a while ago. Charged this man for murder in 2017. In 2024, you now realize that you don't have evidence against this man. 2024, you realize that this man languishing in jail all the time. And to make matters worse, when this man was charged, I remember during that time, 2017, Silal Prasad was the commissioner of police. The man was dismissed. The man was not offered the constitutionally guaranteed presumption of innocence. This man was dismissed. And the same thing going on now with the extended squatter. People are charged, put before the court. Rather than having them interdicted pending the outcome of the charge, they're dismissing them unlawfully, unconstitutionally. So now that the DPP has decided that they don't have enough evidence to continue with this murder charge against Eastman, I wonder what would be the position. Wonder what is going to be. Can't remember he's dismissed. They dismissed him since 2017. He is dismissed from the force. So I guess his only recourse now is to go to the court. And as the Attorney General been complaining, when they do these things, the state got to pay out a lot of money. We, the taxpayers, have to pay for their incompetence. And no one is going to be held accountable for all of this, including the DPP. Nobody's going to ask the DPP any question. People say, oh, she withdraw the charge. Oh, DPP is a good lady. Good lady what? She's the first person to have recommended the charge in the first place. When the file went to her from the police, she recommended that the man be charged with murder. When the depositions went back to her after the magistrate committed him to stand trial, she then had an opportunity to review all of that. And that was saying, I think, till 2019 or something like that. Let me get the date right when that would have happened. 4 years after, yeah, sometime 21 or something like that. He would have been indicted. And you wait till now to tell people that you can get charged. And the man, they destroy a man's career. Destroy a man's career. See, this thing caught me up. I didn't know Eastman. Let me tell you how clear. I did not know him personally, but I followed the story because I knew Godfrey Scipio saga. And when he was killed, I followed the story. Then when you hear that this decorated policeman was charged, I said, wow, this man was so decorated. He was perhaps the most effective undercover policeman in the whole of Georgetown, perhaps in the whole of Guyana. And this man was charged. I said they must have compelling evidence against this man. So I was shocked when I saw this thing. I'm pleased. I'm happy that he is finally free. But when you go through the process, something is wrong. Something was wrong. For the DPP now, almost, how many years? 7 years after, almost 7 years after, to say that they don't have enough evidence. What transpired in this time for the DPP to get this awakening that there's not enough evidence? What came to light? Perhaps you should tell the public, and I hope that the people from the media will pursue this and find out. We need to know, the Guyanese public need to know what transpired, what caused the DPP to only now realize that there is not enough evidence for this matter to continue. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. Mr. Conway, please help some our viewers to understand what transpired.
Well, I'm happy that he was free, because I recruited him. And he trained as a recruit. He trained whilst I was a force training officer. And we developed a very good relationship. For that matter, I had recommended him for the CID because of his aptitude, the kind of qualities that he displayed whilst he was in training. And I was shocked when I heard that he was charged with murder. And also, I knew Saga well. I drank quite a number of beers by Saga Square there, on many occasions. And it had to be the same DPP that recommended that Eastman be charged. And now, shocking, but I'm happy about it, that the DPP saying it is insufficient evidence. And as you mentioned, Silal Prasad dismissing. He didn't look at the man is presumed innocent until proven guilty. What caused the DPP to have a change of mind? That is the shocking part of it. Now, so many years after, they should need to explain to us, explain to the public what motivated or what that they have insufficient evidence anymore. Maybe from the inception they did that insufficient evidence, but the man has suffered. 6 years ago. And this is not the only case. There are many, many, many cases where the DPP, has blundered, some due to political reasons. But I don't think this one here with Eastman was political. This was based on insufficient evidence and that. But yet still, she charged him in the first place, and now again she say, "Hey, we have insufficient evidence." I hope that Eastman will seek redress in the court. I mean, 6 years life has been shattered, career gone down the drain. But I hope that he'll have justice.
Not only a career gone along the drain, a brilliant and promising career. A brilliant, because given what they said about this man, as I said, I didn't know him. But this is what the police said. This man was such an outstanding man, such an outstanding worker, that 1 year runner-up best cop, and next year best cop for the division, best cop for the force. Best cop for the force. And the man ended up getting charged, and DPP now saying, well, they ain't get evidence. They ain't get evidence. This is shocking. This is a shocking development. And I said, I don't know what caused this, because normally, as Mr. Conway rightly pointed out, this is not an isolated case. Maybe it's unusual for the DPP to decide to discontinue, because we know from the records, these matters have gone to trial, and at a trial in the High Court, then it matter, no case submission is made, and the no case submission is upheld by the presiding judge. And I recall some time ago, judges, one judge in particular, making a comment when she upheld a no case submission against someone, that she's aware of many similar cases where people are languishing in the prison, and there is no evidence against them. A judge made that comment in court, open court, that she's aware of that. So perhaps this was one of those cases too. This must have been one of those cases. And the record, and my understanding is that there are several more. But what the DPP has been doing, she sit back there, people rotting in the prison, their family suffering, and then when it gets to the trial, 4 or 5 years after the people have been indicted, or perhaps after they have been charged, I should say, then there no evidence, no case submission, and the people walk free. The people walk free. This I am saying that in light of this decision by the DPP, the people, well, I don't know whether the lawyers or whoever should demand that there should be a review of all of those cases, review of all of those cases to see how many cases are there similar to Eastman's case, where there's no evidence and they're just languishing there, waiting on their time to go before the judge, for the judge to uphold a no case submission and free them. Next 2-3 years, whatever it is. They gotta be more proactive. I believe that the lawyers, either singularly or as a group, should do that. In light of this decision by the DPP in the Eastman case, should now demand, I said demand, not request, should demand that all of those matters be reviewed and see how many more like that you have. Now, let me tell you, we have couple more issues to deal with, 1.5 hours already. But let me take a break to remind you to, you gotta like Google. I'm sure you are enthralled by the program. And all we're asking you to do is to give me a like right now on the thing. I can see the numbers there. Give me a like. Show me some love. Show us some love. Go to the page, subscribe to the page. Go to on Facebook, like the page on Facebook. I just get the report when you like. Many of you who are here right now, regular students, have not done so. Many of you have not done so. Many of you have not subscribed to the channel on YouTube. Please do that. That's all you have to do, you know. We don't charge fee. You're not going to come back to no overtime lessons and all of that. I'll be saying, like the page, give us a thumbs up right now. Give us a thumbs up right now. And if you can give me the art or something, show us some love. Show us some love. And that is going to inspire us to continue. But having said that, whether you do that or not, we are going to continue. We are going to continue. But go to the Facebook page. I know you can't tell me that Mark Zuckerberg gave blackout because the blackout was yesterday for 90 minutes and we all suffered. So go there now and like the page and go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And there's a notification button at the bottom. If you hit that notification button, every time the program goes live, you're going to get a notification that the program has gone live and you can follow. And even that, you're here now, many people can't see the live. Some people are banned. I know people from the police force are told they're not to be watching this show, especially during office hours. But afterwards, it's on Facebook. It's on YouTube in its entirety. So you can go there. When you get home, nobody can stop you from watching when you're there in your yard, so that as the Jamaicans will see. So continue to do that. And we will continue to bring you the valid and credible information. I see the numbers today are so encouraging, magnificent numbers, hundreds and hundreds. Well, combined is thousands. Combined is thousands. So we thank you for that. We thank you for that. Now let me say this. We reported was when? Monday, we spoke about this fallout between Critic and the Mohammeds. And the fact that the Mohammeds threatened to sue Critic because he's accusing them of murdering paper shards. You know, paper shards, Ricardo Fagundes, the man who was killed, I think it's since 2021, April, outside Palm Court. Well, last week, Friday, Critic made some damning allegations. And they said they're going to sue Critic. Boy, I'm surprised because today is Wednesday. I ain't seen nothing yet. I thought that by today, you would have seen that some lawsuit has been filed. You know, those called big figures. They sue Bascom, a lowly and humble police sergeant, for 200 million. So if they're going to sue the Critic, a man who's supposed to get all these assets because he recently got a contract for almost $1 billion. That's billion with a B, 1 billion. So I expect that when they sue you, they're going to sue you for a whole set of money. A whole set of money. Because I remember Simona Broom sued him for 450 million. And I don't think that the Mohammeds would want Simona Brooms to sue him, or they would sue him for a lesser amount than Simona Brooms. So let's see, because, you know, they're suing. Simona Brooms sue Critic. Karim Bash and Brutus sue me. Kwalanda sue Kidaki. And Jagdio sue. So if you can sue, anybody can get sued. Jagdio sue. And up to now, you ain't hearing anything more about that. And let me tell you how, because I think I mentioned it before, you couldn't find Sue to solve the thing. And then after a long while, they say he has been served, that Sue was served. And I asked the question, how was he served? And people didn't pick up on that because they say he has been served. That doesn't mean that they saw him, because Sue disappeared since he made the allegation. And in case you forget, the allegation was, and this is on Vice News, that the Vice President Jagdio collects $500,000 from Chinese businessmen to do. That's what it is alleged. And I said before, and I will continue to say, that required a credible investigation to either confirm the allegation or to clear the vice president, because every Thursday he goes there and sit, and from a distance you could see this thing dangling over here. This thing is dangling over his head. This damaging allegation by Sue. And his response when the allegation was put to him, oh God, that lady set him up nice. And when she asked him, was Sue? He said, who, Sue? Who's Sue? Man who's supposed to have so many words that he can't wait for a Wednesday to let them off. He was lost for words momentarily when the name Sue was called. So you got a lot of suing going on. A lot of suing. And don't forget, the former Accountant General Gulsaran Sue Jagdeo, and the man ducked and hide for weeks. The man ducked and hide for weeks. Then eventually it was served. He ducked and he hid for weeks before it was solved. So a lot of suing going on. A lot of sue. And as I say, if you can sue, then you can sue anybody else. And when we talk about sue, we aren't talking about throwing box on. Because in the islands, I think St. Lucia and those places. We in Ghana say Baksan, where you pull your money, one body get it this week and the next body, we call it showing Baksan. But in some of the islands, I think St. Lucia in particular, they call it Susu. Susu. So when I talk about Jagyo Suin Su, Jagyo Susu, we ain't talking about showing Baksan. We're talking about a lawsuit. As they would say, a SOC, a statement of claim. A statement of claim was filed against Sue for $15 million by the vice president. So let me see what's going to happen there. Let me begin, Mr. Conway will talk about some of this Sue, what we talking about here. Mr. Conway, help me with all this Sue and what's going on. And why is it that up to now, apparently the Mohammeds have not filed yet?
I really don't know, but I expect it coming. Maybe it's because it's coming real big. That's why, they held it back. But, plenty suing, but then we're not hearing more of the cases, just, and then Jack Deal said the man was solved. I don't know what solved mean, but it's time that some of those cases go to trial, so that we can get that things could be done. But it's a lot of suing, but then there's it. You sue, full stop, nothing more.
Well, I guess once you now that you have, it takes time. The judges are pressed. I know it takes a lot of time, and the judges are pressed. They're up to their neck with work, and they get a heavy caseload. So let's have some patience and let's wait to see. But let me tell you this: the reason why I am anxious to see this one, where it will go, because remember this man was close to these people. The man actually defended the Mohammeds against the same allegation some time ago. I read it here on Monday. He defended them. So for him to have come out now and to make this allegation, and the fact that during the program where this allegation was made, the man was able to play conversations that he had with taped conversation he had with the elder Mohammed. I wonder if he has other evidence in relation to this matter. Might very well be. And I asked the question then, and I asking the question again now. This Fagundes matter, according to the police, is an open matter. The matter is not closed, open. So now that on last Friday, critic Michael Rodriguez, called Guyanese critic, made these allegations. Have they interviewed Rodriguez? They have almost a week now. Have they interviewed him to find out what evidence or what information he has to assist with this investigation? Any credible police force would have done that. But I made the point at the same time that, remember, Sergeant Bascom, a member of the police major crime unit, made allegation that monies were paid. He said Mohammed paid Michelle Caesar, the head of the major crime unit, 30 million Ghanaian dollars. That is what he said. They sue him for that. Mohammed sued Bascom for that statement. So Bascom has implicated members of the police force, members of the CID, members of the major crime unit. So if you want to follow up on this allegation being made by critic, the question is, who is going to go to get a statement from critic? Who? If you want to do a credible investigation. And I maintain, if you were in a society that was governed by the rule of law and all of that, the Minister of Home Affairs or the government would have gotten into this matter right away and request independent investigators. Because with this allegation that critic is now making, you can't put police to investigate. The man has leveled, the Bascom, a member of the force, leveled the allegation against the police. So who are you going to put now to investigate this matter? If you want to have a credible investigation, who are you going to put? That is a question. So let's wait to see what will happen. Let's wait. Because this matter should not be allowed to die like that. And I made the point that whoever is representing Fagundes family and them should come up and find out, now that this allegation has been made by the Guyanese critic, what are you doing? We want closure. What are you doing? But I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to hold my breath because when Bascom make the allegation, rather than applying the law, which deems him as a whistleblower, and as was requested, provisions were requested by his lawyer, he was ignored. Ignored. It is said that Mr. Nigel Hughes, who represented Bascom, wrote to the president on 2 occasions, or at least 2 occasions. On the first occasion, I remember very well, the president was leaving the country. And when questioned, he said, well, he's leaving. He said, when he come back. So I wanted to, and I did ask the question, what leaving the country has to do with the fact that a request was made for certain provisions of the law to be enacted? You leaving the country, so what the thing stop? What happened? And nothing. Matter of fact, I should say nothing. What happened then is that they went after Bascom viciously. The matters are still before the court. He was sued for $200 million Ghana dollars by Mohammed for defamation of character. And then the policeman, Caesar, Chabilal Singh, and they sued him, or not sued him, they filed cybercrime charge against him. Those matters are still before the court. They filed charge. That is how they dealt with him. He was interdicted, and they dealt with him in that manner. So I am not holding out much. But I'm about to close. I got to share this one with you. And I tell you how Ghana is not a real place. There's an article in yesterday's paper, Stabrook News, yesterday. It said, NA's New Amsterdam fight among relatives leaves one dead. That is the article. And when I read this thing, y'all forgive me, I'm going to read it. Y'all going to see why you're laughing. Hey, what it says, I'm going to read the excerpts. It says, Stabrook News was told that Daniels and a man identified to be his son-in-law were involved in a scuffle during which Daniels was allegedly broadsided. In other words, a scuffling, and the man take a cutlass, a cartoon, and said a broadsided. Persons in the area yesterday said Daniels first went to the New Amsterdam police station and filed a report, after which he succumbed to injuries sustained along the road. Well, they write it wrong. They say he succumbed to injuries sustained along the road. But what really happened, my interpretation, is that after he made the report, while he going home, he succumbed to the injuries. In other words, he fall and dead. I bring it real. The man's son, Godfrey Daniels, yesterday relayed that he was only informed of his father's death through the funeral parlor, which uplifted his father's body. So again, let me explain. The father fall along dead. Y'all forgive me. I find this thing very, very funny. The father fall along dead, and the funeral parlor informed the son that the father died. But here's the story. The young man, that is the son, explained that the funeral parlor told me that they were not supposed to pick up the body because the police did not know about the body as yet. And they had to drop the body back. I can't help it. It might look real unprofessional and so I'll be laughing and so but body, I can't help it. So the funeral parlor picked up this body, unknowing to the police, and then when the son ever go down, they came back the body. The funeral parlor took back the body. They pick up the body, and then they took back the the young man explained that the funeral parlor told me that they were not supposed to pick up the body because the police did not know about the body as yet. And they had to drop the body back. So they had to drop the body back by me. So they dropped the body back by them. And you tell me I can't laugh. See, come here, man. Let me bring myself out and let you explain what really happened, man. You explain that.
Well, I really can't explain, because no normally, especially police in town here, when there is any death stuff, sometime before they call you at the station or call you the officer, they call they call Sandy or somebody first. But this one is torn the other way around, where I don't know how the parlor got the information, but they pick up the body and then they had to carry it back. Something is relatively wrong there, man. I don't know, but strange things happen in Borbis, Paul, you were commanding Borbis, I was commanding Borbis, and a lot of magic just take place in Borbis, man.
Yeah, Bobby's is a place of magic where you have these cases. And they have one that we haven't got time to talk about, but hopefully when we meet next, we're going to talk about this Majamutu matter. RCC, your closing remarks. We almost 1 and 3/4 hours. Your closing remarks.
All right, just still on Barbies. Um, the corporal there, Chigomen, who was charged for a sexual offense, still operating, has not been interdicted. And understand people saying that he can't get interdicted because he and the extended squatter are it, and he gets secret for the extended squatter. So here's it: a man has been charged, not interdicted. We had a case in Spandan where one a ROOP inspector was charged, not interdicted. After we talk regularly, they interdict him. So, well, as the police service commission not interdicted, but this one is just the commissioner to interdict. I don't know if the incompetent commanding Borbis, if he had sent down any report to the commissioner for the guy to be interdicted. I don't know, but it is ridiculous that so far no interdiction document has been served on that corporal.
Well, it's ridiculous because if you recall this same extended squatter in 2022, the 5th of July to be exact, when Damian McLennan and those guys were charged in the Quindon Bacchus issue, he dismissed them. Not only interdicted, he did not interdict, he dismissed them the same day they went to court. So how is it that this man who is to be interdicted for a sexual offense is still working? And if the man is saying that he get thing on the commissioner, the extended squatter, and he has not been interdicted, perhaps the man is correct. Perhaps that is evidence that he's afraid to interdict the man. And let me say this to the commander who is there, beside you might know, it's a simple process. It's a simple process. A policeman is charged and put before the court. As a matter of fact, let me say this. The policeman would, under normal circumstances, a policeman is not charged unless the commissioner of police or whoever sits in that seat is told. So once the file goes to the DPP and the DPP recommends that the person must be charged, the file then goes to the crime chief. The crime chief sends it to the commissioner to inform him that the DPP has recommended that the policeman be charged. And then it is sent to the respective division. And once the person appears in court, a short report is sent to say that John Jones appeared in court at some time and whatever happened, and interdiction is recommended from that day. Interdiction is recommended from the date he appeared in court, and is interdicted pending the outcome of the charge. And that is what happens. And that is what should have happened in the Eastman case that we talked about. He should have been interdicted pending the outcome of the charge. But he was dismissed during Silal Prasad's tenure. And now that the matter has been dismissed, or not dismissed, the DPP has decided that there's not enough evidence to continue the prosecution. What happens? The only recourse the man gets, as far as I'm aware, is to go and see a lawyer and get millions and millions of dollars from the state, the same millions of dollars that the Attorney General has complained that the state has to pay because of wrongful action. This is not only wrongful action by the police, but this is wrongful action by the DPP as well, because if the DPP would have recommended the charge, the DPP would have done the indictment. So that's what we have. That is what we have, right? So what somebody say? Somebody, I'm not gonna bother with wrong information and all of that at this time. But let me say this in closing. Again, as I said, we have lots more that we could have talked about, but time would not permit us to go any further today, Wednesday. I thank you for your attendance. We had record numbers today. So even though we are only streaming on 2 platforms, it is a record number that we have, and I thank you very much. Paul is asking, can the Police Service Commission override the Police Commission and interdict a policeman? No, the Police Service Commission has the authority from inspector to assistant commissioner. But the ones at constable, corporal, sergeant, that is the man who sits in the commissioner's chair. That is his responsibility under the law. He has to do the interdiction, not the Police Service Commission. Police Service Commission deals with inspector through to assistant commissioner. Like when the questions are asked and we get the opportunity to interact, And as I've said, I don't normally look at the comments because it can be distracting. But as soon as the program is finished, the comments are still there. I will run them. And if there's anything to respond to, I make a note so that on the next program, I can tell you what is going on. So, folks, thanks again for your attendance today. Let's continue to follow what is going on with the teachers and the negotiations, which should start tomorrow. Let's continue to follow what is going on with the public service credit union. And let's continue to be safe. We will continue to talk about the unlawful action, the illegal action, the criminal action of the people who are laundering money in the force, people who now have sand mining concession. Imagine that. 2 senior men in the force, sand mining concession, it is there, right? And all of those things are allowed. And people in authority, Ben, the Minister of Home Affairs, Ben and them, can see that those things are some of the things that are affecting the efficiency of the organization. People have dual or multiple interests, so they can dedicate their time and energies to the upliftment and the betterment of the Ghana police force. Them are side hustle, as the minister said. And I am saying that perhaps it's not side hustle, perhaps it's the main hustle. Perhaps the side hustle is the police work, of being brutally frank. Sometimes for them, the side hustle is the police work. And the sand mining and who's supplying things to the force and who get hotel and all this. That is the main hustle. That is the main hustle. And the police is just being used to cover what is going on. So folks, stay well, stay well. I enjoyed today. I hope you did as well. And all things being equal, if God should spare our lives, on Monday, we're going to see you here again. But remember, the time change I referred to earlier. So Monday, those of us in Guyana and those of you in the New York will be on the same time, 11 o'clock. So if God should spare our life, God's willing, Monday at 11 o'clock, we'll see you here for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, stay well. Bye.